In the last video, we have seen how to define data, how to identify data in our application. And we have created different types of data like a number data type, a string data type, and a Boolean data type. Now, the next point, which is really important, is how to name this data. I mean, there are certain rules that we need to follow while creating this data. I mean, we can't go ahead and create the data as we want. There are certain rules which we need to follow. Like I cannot name my variable as 111 or 212 or two things together, something like this. I'm just making up some of the examples. So in this video, we will see what are the different rules that we need to follow while defining, while creating, while declaring our data. So I have created a project folder for this. And I'm going to open the index.js file, which is our starting file or a startup file. And I'm going to tell you different rules that you need to follow while creating your data. Now, the first rule, the most important rule while defining your data is your data can have letters, numbers, underscore, or a dollar sign. I mean, you can make your variables using the combination of these four things: letters, numbers, underscore, and dollar sign. So I'm going to create some of the examples in front of you. Like I can define a variable, full name is equals to John Smith. So this is perfectly fine variable. I mean, you can see it is a collection of letters. So I have letters in small case, I have letters in capital case, and this is perfectly fine. You can have a combination of letters in your variable name. Next up, you can even use numbers in your variable names while declaring your variable. So I can define num1 is equals to 10. So you can see inside this variable declaration, I have combination of letters and a number. So this is also perfectly fine. You can combine letters and numbers while declaring a variable. You can also use underscore or a dollar sign while declaring your variable. So I can write something like this. I can say num underscore 1 is equals to 20. This is perfectly fine. So this is a combination of letters, underscore sign, and a number. Similarly, I can use a dollar sign. So I can declare a variable to TWO2 dollar is equals to 2. So the first and the most important rule is your variable can be a combination of letters, small case, capital case, letter and number, letter, number, and underscore, or a dollar sign. Now, the second and most important rule, you cannot start your variable name with a number. This is really important. So I can say num1, but I can't say one num. This is not right. This is wrong. This will throw an error when you're going to run this program. So this is really important. You should understand. You shouldn't start your variable name with a number. This is wrong. So I'm going to write it down. This is wrong. This is not going to work if you're going to run this program in the browser. So like I said, you cannot start your variable name with a number, but there is a catch. There is an exception in this. You can start your variable name with underscore. So I can say underscore num1 or a num is equals to 10. This is perfectly fine. Even I can write something like this. I can say I can start my variable name with a dollar sign. So I can say $num is equals to 20. This is also going to work. So you cannot start your variable name with a number, but you can start your variable name with an underscore sign or a dollar sign. This is perfectly fine. Okay, the next point. If I declare a variable x is equals to say 10, and I'll declare one more variable capital X is equals to 20. Now this small x and this capital X are two different variables. The compiler or the interpreter is going to create two different memory locations inside a computer memory. So this small x and this capital X are not same. So JavaScript and many other languages are case sensitive. So your variable declarations are case sensitive. Similarly, if I say variable num is equals to 10 and if I say variable num is equals to 20, these two are different variables. These two are going to create two different memory location inside your computer's memory. So keep in mind, this is one of the important rule while creating your variable names. And the last and the most important rule I'm going to tell you, you cannot use any language reserved words while creating variable name. Like this var keyword. This is a reserved word in JavaScript. So you cannot name your variables with the var keyword. Similarly, function is a reserved keyword or a reserved word in JavaScript or many other languages. So I cannot use function as a variable name while defining my data. So say suppose I write var and then I say var is equals to 20. This is not going to work out because var is a reserved word in JavaScript. So you can't declare your variables with the reserved words. Similarly, I cannot create a variable with the name of function. That's not possible. You can't create a variable with function as a name because function is a reserved word in JavaScript. And in any language, there are a lot of reserved words. So don't worry, you don't need to remember all of the reserved words. As you go along, as you write code, you're going to get it. And when you're going to write a code, your editor is going to hint you like this function is a keyword and you shouldn't use as a variable. So like you can see here, even in Notepad++, if you see this num and if you see this function, they are in different colors. So by looking at the colors, I can understand maybe I'm doing something wrong here. Why this function color is in blue and why this num color is in black. So you'll get an idea, like maybe you're doing something wrong with the variable creation, with the naming of the variable, and you can go ahead and change the variable name. Like I can rename it to var1 and I can rename it to function1. And this is perfectly fine because function1 and var1 are not the reserved word in JavaScript. Now let's get back to my previous point. If you remember, I have told you sometimes back that defining a variable starting with a number is not right. This is a wrong way of defining a variable or declaring a variable. And if you do this, this is going to throw an error in your program and your program is not going to run. Let me prove my point here. Let's alert this variable $2 first. And for the time being, I'm going to comment this code. And I'm going to run my program. Let me go back to the folder and open my index.html in Chrome. And you can see we are getting the output of 2. Why? Because we have a value of 2 inside my $2 variable, right? Now, let me comment this alert first. I'm going to uncomment my variable one number. Now we know this one num is not right way of defining a variable. And let me try to alert this. And let's see if we get the output. So I'm trying to alert one num. Save the program, go back to the browser and refresh. So you can see we are not getting the output here, right? Previously when I tried to alert $2, I got the output of 2, right? But in this case, I'm trying the same, right? I'm trying to alert one num, but I'm not getting the output of 2, right? So there is something wrong with my program. And if you need to check that what is wrong with the program, we can go to the dev tool of a Chrome browser. So you can navigate to more tools, click on a developer tools, and you can see something is in red. That means there is something wrong with my program, right? So it is saying invalid or unexpected token. So this is an error in my program. This is why my program is not running. Why my program is not running? Because, as I said earlier, we cannot start a variable name with a number. Now, one last point I would like to mention here, whatever rules we have applied for creating variables will be applied to the function name as well. So we don't have separate rule while creating functions. So whichever rules we have for creating variables, we have the same rules while creating functions as well. So while writing a function, I cannot start my function name with a number. This is wrong. I cannot start my function name with a number. My function name can be a combination of letters and number. I can write something like this, my function 1. I can use underscores. I can use $sign. Similarly, I can start my function name with underscore. I can start my function with $sign, but I cannot start with a number. This is really important. So the same rules that we have used for variables are applied to functions as well. And one more point I would like to mention, if the function name is X, if one of my function name is X and I have another function with capital X, now these two functions will be different because this function starts with a small x. I mean, this function name is a small x and this function name is a capital X. Remember, while declaring this x variable, the small x and a capital X, both these variables are different, right? Similarly, this function with small caps and this function with a capital letter, I mean the capital X, are different. So it's really simple, right? Some of the rules which we can use for creating data, creating variables in our application, and the same rules are applied while creating functions as well. Now, like I said, if you have done the previous assignment, as I have told you, go through some of the programs in your computer, laptop, tablet, or mobile and create some of the data and functions out of it. So if you have created some of the functions or variables out of it, go through those programs, see if you can apply these rules there. I mean, applying these rules will give you more practice. You will know how to define a variable, how to write a function, how to write a syntactically correct variable and functions.